They seated me at the far corner of the table, half hidden behind a fake palm and the coat rack. My sister-in-law smiled sweetly and said, "Say thank you that you were even invited." The guests laughed. I looked down at the glass in front of me. Something wasn't right. The wine was darker than the others, almost cloudy. My stomach tightened before my mind could catch up. My husband leaned closer, already tired. "You overthink too much," he sighed, embarrassed for me. "I'll drink it." Before I could stop him, he lifted the glass. He took a sip, and that's when my sister-in-law's face drained of color. "Stop, don't. My name is Elena. I'm 32, married for 6 years. And tonight was the first time I understood exactly where I stood in this family. This dinner was supposed to be a celebration, my father-in-law's birthday. Long table, polished cutlery, soft music, 40 relatives squeezed into one chandelier-lit room. Everyone important had a seat in the center. My husband, Mark, sat 3 chairs away from me. By design. She made sure of that. Laura, my sister-in-law. She had always hated me in quiet ways. Correcting my grammar in front of others. Forgetting my name. Smiling while doing it. The kind of cruelty that leaves no bruises, only doubt. When the waiter poured the wine, she personally took my glass from his tray. "I'll handle Elena's," she said lightly. I noticed it then. The smell. Slightly bitter. Metallic. I didn't want to cause a scene. I never do. I whispered to Mark instead. He rolled his eyes. "Here we go again," he muttered. "Relax." Now his throat moved as he swallowed. The room kept laughing, talking, clinking forks. No one noticed the silence growing inside my chest. Laura stood abruptly, knocking her chair back. "Mark, don't drink that," she said too loudly now. He frowned. "What's wrong with it?" Her mouth opened. Closed. Her eyes flicked to me for just a second. Fear. Real fear. A beat passed. Then Mark's face changed. He coughed once. Hard. Set the glass down. "Elena," he said slowly, confused. "What did you notice about this wine?" And before I could answer, his hand began to tremble in mine. Mark's fingers kept shaking, just slightly, like his body was arguing with itself. I stood up so fast my chair screeched across the marble floor. "What did you put in it?" I asked, my voice steady in a way that surprised even me. Laura laughed too quickly. "Oh my God, Elena, don't be dramatic. It's just wine." But she wouldn't meet my eyes. Mark's breathing felt wrong against my shoulder, shallow, uneven. The warmth of his hand was turning clammy. Around us, conversation slowed, curiosity spreading like spilled ink. My mother-in-law waved her hand dismissively. "Sit down. You always ruin moments like this." That sentence landed harder than the fear. Because this wasn't new. Every holiday, every gathering, I was too sensitive. Too quiet. Too much. Laura decided where I sat, what I ate, how much I spoke. And Mark, God. Mark always chose peace over truth. A waiter leaned in, whispering that maybe Mark should get some air. Laura grabbed her purse. "I think we're all overreacting," she said, already backing away. But her lipstick had smeared. Her hands were shaking now too. Mark bent closer to me and whispered, barely audible, "Elena, I think you were right." And in that moment, I realized this wasn't an accident. Someone had wanted me to drink that glass. We took Mark outside into the cold night air. His cough eased, but his eyes stayed unfocused, like he was still swimming through fog. An ambulance was suggested. Immediately dismissed. Too dramatic. Too embarrassing. Laura hovered near the doorway, pretending to scroll on her phone while listening to every word. That's when the memories started lining up, quiet, obedient, undeniable. The sudden stomach flu after her special soup. The rash I got from the skincare set she insisted I try. The way she always handled my plate, my glass, my portion. Control disguised as care. I looked back through the glass doors. 40 faces. None of them watching me. They were watching him. Concern only mattered when it belonged to blood. Mark leaned close again. "She's never liked you," he whispered, almost ashamed. But this feels different. Inside, Laura was arguing with my mother-in-law now. Hushed voices. Sharp gestures. Panic slipping through the cracks of her perfect composure. I pulled Mark's sleeve gently and said the words that changed everything. She didn't expect you to drink it. His jaw tightened. And for the first time since I married into this family, someone finally believed me. Behind us, a glass shattered inside the dining room. And I knew whatever Laura had planned, tonight wasn't over yet. The shattering glass silenced the room faster than any scream could have. We rushed back inside to find my father-in-law gripping the table, shards scattered near Lara's feet. She stood frozen, wine bottle still in her hand, cork half removed like she'd been caught mid-thought. I was just opening another bottle, she said, too fast, too loud. The waiter stared at the broken glass, then at the bottle label. Sir, he said carefully, this isn't the same wine we served. Every head turned. Mark straightened beside me, color returning to his face, but something else hardening in his eyes. Why did you bring your own bottle? He asked. Laura laughed. Again, that brittle sound. Because this place is overpriced garbage. My mother-in-law rushed in to shield her. Enough. This is absurd. But the waiter picked up the broken glass, sniffed it, and frowned. There's a strong chemical smell, he said quietly. That's not normal. The room buzzed. Phones came out. Whispers multiplied. Lara's gaze snapped to me then. No smile left, just naked fury. And in that second I knew she finally understood something too. I wasn't invisible anymore. They sent Mark to the hospital just to be safe. No sirens. No drama. Just a quiet car ride where my hands finally started shaking now that I didn't need them steady. The doctor later called it irritation, not poisoning. Something harsh, diluted. Enough to scare. Enough to harm. Enough to send a message. Laura didn't come. She texted my mother-in-law instead. Misunderstanding. Overreaction. Elena being Elena. I sat alone in the hospital hallway, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, and let the pain finally land. Not just fear for my husband, but 6 years of being minimized, managed, erased. Then something shifted. I stopped crying. Stopped defending. Stopped hoping they'd suddenly see me. I opened my phone and began documenting everything. Dates. Dinners. Ingredients. Messages. Screenshots. Patterns I had ignored because loving someone makes you generous with denial. Laura had always liked control, and control always leaves fingerprints. By the time Mark was discharged, I wasn't angry anymore. I was calm, and calm is where real revenge begins. I didn't confront Laura. I invited her. A small dinner. Just 4 of us. Neutral ground. I let her think I was shaken, embarrassed, eager to smooth things over. People like her mistake silence for surrender. She arrived smiling again, confident. Wearing white. I served everything family style. Nothing plated by hand. No glasses poured except water. I watched her relax as control returned to her fingers. Halfway through dessert, I stood and handed Mark my phone. Can you play the audio? I asked softly. Laura frowned. Audio of what? The room filled with her own voice, recorded months ago at another dinner. Laughing. Saying, she's so dramatic. A little bitterness keeps her quiet. Then messages appeared on the screen. Her instructions to the caterer. Her order for the bottle. The payment receipt she forgot to delete. The color drained from her face exactly the way it had that night. This is edited, she whispered. I smiled, calm and surgical. Already submitted. Hospital report included. Mark didn't look at her. Neither did I. Because the door behind her had just closed. And this time it locked. Laura didn't scream. She didn't throw a glass or cry like people expect villains to do. She went very still. That was a joke, she said finally, voice thin. You know how I am. No one answered. Mark stood up slowly, like his body had aged 10 years in one night. You could have hurt me, he said. Not loud. Worse. Flat. My mother-in-law arrived an hour later, furious, until she saw the file folder on the table. The printed messages. the hospital note, the timestamps she couldn't explain away. For the first time, Lara had no shield. Relatives stopped calling her. Then friends. The birthday photos disappeared from social media. Invitations dried up. The silence she used to bury me in wrapped itself around her instead. She texted me once. Please. We're family. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I blocked her. Because families don't test poison in wine glasses. And as the house finally went quiet, I felt something loosen in my chest. Not relief yet, but release. The kind that comes right before the final truth lands. The final twist didn't come with sirens or courtrooms. It came quietly 3 weeks later, over coffee. Mark reached across the table and slid an envelope toward me. I filed for distance, he said. From them. From her. Inside was a document transferring his inheritance share, every future claim, every expectation, into a trust. Not in his name. In mine. They'll never seat you in a corner again, he said. Because they won't be at our table. Lara moved cities. Changed numbers. Started over where no one knew why her life collapsed overnight. Some people whispered. Most didn't care. Control doesn't survive exposure. As for me, I stopped trying to earn space in rooms that needed me small. The next family gathering we hosted was simple. 8 people. Warm light. Honest laughter. When I poured the wine, I poured it myself, clear, clean, unquestioned. And when I took my seat, it wasn't at the edge. It was at the center. Because the moment she tried to erase me, she taught me exactly how visible I truly was.